In 1981, I went to the Marriott Hotel on one cloudy, rainy day, sounds familiar, to listen to a man who I'd never heard of called Stephen Covey give a presentation called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People with a team of 3 executives that I had brought because I'd heard he was really good at helping people really communicate in a truthful way, and these executives were really misbehaving with each other. And they really got a lot out of that presentation. But I had a life-changing experience. I heard what he had to say, and I said, I'm going to make that message as big as I can make it. I didn't know him. I found a friend who actually was an acquaintance of his. I went to his house in Provo, Utah, knocked on the door, and said, I want to take you out of the classroom and put you in the boardroom. Isn't that great? I mean, I practiced it and practiced it. And he looked at me and said, who are you? He was 50 years old. He was a professor at Brigham Young University. He was living a really happy life. And it took me 8 months to talk him into this scheme I had. And as the president of that organization for 7 years, I had an opportunity to work with thousands of executives and personally with many executives of some of the leading organizations of our time. Subsequently, I started working one-on-one, just as a personal coach to senior executives. And about 2 years ago, something really interesting happened. Many of the executives that I now work with are younger than I am, which is very unfortunate for my psyche. But there's a young woman, 37 years old, who runs a company over in Phoenix, Arizona, who came to a speech that I gave. And the speech was called Beyond Branding, and it was all about what do you stand for? And your brand has to stand for something that is part of you, that is inside of you, that is about your values, that it can't be just an advertising slogan. So I'm going on with this thing. As I start to leave, she just grabs me and says, can I take you to the airport? And I said, well, yeah, I guess so. So we get in our Audi TT, and here we're dodging in traffic down over to Sky Harbor Airport, and she's driving like a wild woman. And she tells me that she's the CEO of one of the largest career schools in the country, and they train people, young people, to be automobile and motorcycle technicians. The largest in the country. They have 7 campuses, 15,000 students enrolled. And she said to me, there's a lot of pressure for the company to go public because we're just making money like we have a printing press. And I just don't want to do it. And I said, well, how long have you been CEO? And she goes, oh, I'm not really CEO yet, I'm just president, but they want to make me CEO and go public. She goes, I started as a receptionist when I was 19 years old. I was a single mom. I lost my scholarship to ASU because of unfortunate circumstances. I got a job as a receptionist, and I just stayed with it. And I said, you're the president of this company? She goes, yeah, a couple of years ago, we made a bad acquisition, and the company was going, maybe belly up. So they were looking around, and they decided to give me a chance. And I said, well, what did you do? She said, well, I really decided to use the people in the organization to solve the problem. So I made a pledge that we wouldn't lay anybody off. And that we went out to all the campuses, and we got every single employee into 2-day sessions where we told them what our problem was, what this acquisition had done, what our financial condition was, and we needed their ideas to either increase revenue or save money. And then we were going to spend 2 days to do it. And we taught them basically the principles of consulting. I said, everybody? Yeah, the instructors, the janitors, everybody. Really? Yeah, we got them into teams, and we told them how to imagine a future state and the present state and how to fill in the gap and solve a problem. And then they had to come up with their ideas and present them to the senior management, and we'd decide on the spot whether we'd go or not. And I said, well, what happened? She goes, well, in 18 months we turned the company around, and we're just growing like crazy. Now they want us to take us public. I said, that's amazing. She said, it just seems so obvious to me. But she said, I'm not going to continue. You're not going to continue? I said, if you're going to become CEO and you're going to go public, you are going to make a stadium full of money. She goes, I don't care about money. She goes, I don't want to lose my soul. I don't want to lose the organization's soul. This means too much to me. I said, so what are you going to do? Well, this national not-for-profit has offered me a regional job. I think I could become a VP of this famous name brand not-for-profit. And that's probably what I'm going to do because I just not in it for the money. Remember, she's 37 years old and she's a woman. Well, I'd never really heard a senior executive who was about to have the payday of her life, millions and millions, 8-figure millions, payday, saying, I don't want to lose my soul. I don't want to lose the company's soul. I'm going to move on. Well, I started to put two and two together of things that have been happening in my consulting work over the last 3 years about CEOs who really wanted to stand for something different than the boomer CEOs that I had coached, who seemed to really be interested only in one thing, which is primarily shareholder return. And the difference between that and this young woman and her counterparts. And I said, this isn't just an isolated case. This is a trend. I wonder what's going on.